the Valley of Echoes, a place shrouded in mystery and enigma, where the very air seems to hum with secrets of the past. This valley, hidden away from the prying eyes of the world, has been the subject of countless tales and legends, a place whispered about in hushed tones. The whispers, they say, are the voices of those who once sought its treasures and never returned. The trees themselves seem to lean in, as if listening to the secrets carried by the wind. Legends spoke of a lost city filled with untold riches, a city that thrived in the heart of the valley, its streets paved with gold and its buildings adorned with precious gems. But with great wealth came great peril, a place guarded by ancient magic and deadly traps. The inhabitants of the lost city, fearing that their riches would attract invaders, wove powerful spells and set cunning traps to protect their home. These defenses have stood the test of time, warding off all but the most determined. For centuries, explorers and treasure seekers alike had searched for this fabled valley, their dreams swallowed by the jungle's embrace. Few returned. Those who did spoke of a place where the very ground seemed to shift beneath their feet, leading them in circles until they were hopelessly lost. None lived to tell the tale. The jungle, it seemed, had a will of its own, protecting the secrets of the valley from those who would exploit them. Abandoned campsites and empty paths are all that remain of those who dared to venture too far. The key to finding the valley, it was said, lay in an ancient compass. This compass, unlike any other, was said to be imbued with the magic of the valley itself. It could sense the whispers of the past, guiding its bearer through the treacherous terrain. A compass that could sense the whispers of the past. It glowed with an otherworldly light, responding to the hidden energies of the valley. Those who possessed it could feel its pull, leading them ever closer to their goal. It could guide those worthy enough to wield its power. But the compass was not easily found. It was said to be hidden away, waiting for the right hands to claim it. Only those with pure intentions and a brave heart could unlock its secrets. For years, the compass lay dormant, hidden away in a forgotten corner of the world. Until now. The world had all but forgotten the legends of the Valley of Echoes, but fate had other plans. Two young adventurers, drawn together by fate and a thirst for the unknown, now held the compass in their hands. They had heard the stories, felt the pull of the unknown, and were determined to uncover the truth. They were ready to face the challenges that awaited them. With the compass as their guide, they set out on a journey that would test their courage, their resolve, and their bond. The jungle was dense and unforgiving, but they were undeterred. They were ready to uncover the secrets of the Valley of Echoes. The whispers of the past called to them, and they were determined to answer. The valley awaited, its secrets ready to be revealed to those brave enough to seek them.
Ready for this, Leah?
Always. The Valley of Echoes awaits.
Ryan, a quick-witted and agile young man, adjusted his backpack. Excitement danced in his eyes. He traced the inscription on the compass with his thumb. Next to him stood Leah, her face a picture of determination. She studied the map, her brow furrowed in concentration. They had been planning this adventure for months, poring over ancient texts and deciphering cryptic clues. The compass, passed down through generations in Leah's family, was their guide, their only hope of navigating the treacherous path that lay before them. With a deep breath, Ryan turned the compass, its needle spinning wildly before settling on a direction. North, deeper into the heart of the unknown.
Stay close. This jungle plays tricks on the mind.
The jungle welcomed them with stifling heat and a symphony of strange sounds. Towering trees formed a canopy above, casting long, eerie shadows. Vines, thick as pythons, snaked across their path, threatening to trip them at every turn. They pressed onward, the compass their only guide through the emerald labyrinth. Hours turned into days. Days melted into nights. The jungle tested their resolve, pushing them to their physical and mental limits. Exhaustion gnawed at their bones, but they dared not rest. The Valley of Echoes was close, they could feel it. Then disaster struck. As Ryan scrambled over a fallen log, his foot slipped. He tumbled headfirst down a steep embankment, the compass flying from his grasp.
Ryan!
Leah cried out, her voice laced with panic.
Ryan landed with a thud, the breath knocked out of him. The fall had been sudden, unexpected, and now he lay sprawled on the forest floor, gasping for air. The dense canopy above barely let any light through, casting eerie shadows all around him. He could hear the distant calls of birds and the rustling of leaves, but his mind was focused on the pain radiating through his body. He lay there for a moment, dazed and disoriented. The world around him seemed to spin, and he struggled to make sense of his surroundings. The forest was unfamiliar, and the thick underbrush made it difficult to see more than a few feet in any direction. He tried to remember how he had ended up here, but his thoughts were a jumbled mess. As he slowly sat up, his hand instinctively reached for the compass. It was gone. Panic surged through him. That compass was their only hope of navigating through this dense jungle. Without it, they were as good as lost. He frantically searched the ground around him, his heart pounding in his chest. The thought of being stranded here with no way to find their bearings was terrifying. Without the compass, they were lost. The jungle was vast and unforgiving, and every direction looked the same. The trees towered above, their branches intertwining to form a nearly impenetrable canopy. The underbrush was thick, making it difficult to move quickly. Ryan felt a sense of hopelessness wash over him. How were they ever going to find their way out of here, doomed to wander the jungle forever? The thought echoed in his mind, a grim reminder of the stakes they were facing. He couldn't let that happen. He had to find the compass. He had to find a way out. But where could it be? He retraced his steps in his mind, trying to remember where he might have dropped it. "Leah!" he shouted, his voice hoarse. He needed her help. Together, they had a better chance of finding the compass. He listened for a response, but the jungle seemed to swallow his voice, the dense foliage muffling the sound. He shouted again, louder this time, hoping she was within earshot.
A moment later, Leah's worried face appeared at the top of the embankment. She had heard his calls and had come running. Her eyes scanned the area, taking in the scene below. She could see the distress on Ryan's face and knew something was wrong. "Are you all right?" she called down. Her voice was filled with concern. She could see that he was physically okay, but there was something in his expression that told her there was more to the story. She needed to get down there and find out what had happened.
"I lost the compass," Ryan said, his voice heavy with despair. The weight of the situation was clear in his tone. Without the compass, their chances of finding their way out of the jungle were slim. He felt a deep sense of failure, knowing that he had let them down.
Leah wasted no time. She knew they couldn't afford to lose hope. She quickly made her way down the embankment, her movements swift and determined. She had always been the more optimistic of the two, and she wasn't about to let this setback defeat them. She quickly made her way down to him, her eyes scanning the ground. She was determined to find the compass. She knew that their survival depended on it. She moved methodically, her eyes darting back and forth, searching for any sign of the lost item. "We'll find it," she said, her voice determined. "We have to." She looked at Ryan, her eyes filled with resolve. She wasn't going to let them give up. They had come too far to turn back now. They had to keep going no matter what.
They searched for what felt like hours, their hope dwindling with each passing moment. The jungle seemed to stretch on forever, and the dense foliage made it difficult to see more than a few feet ahead. They combed the area, their eyes scanning the ground for any sign of the compass. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows across the forest floor. Just when they were about to give up, Ryan spotted something glinting in the dim light. His heart skipped a beat as he moved closer, hoping against hope that it was the compass. The light was fading fast, and he knew they didn't have much time left. The compass lay half hidden beneath a pile of leaves, its needle spinning erratically. Relief flooded through him as he reached down to pick it up. The compass was their lifeline, and finding it felt like a miracle. He held it up, showing it to Leah, who let out a sigh of relief. Relief washed over Ryan in waves as he picked it up, clutching it tightly in his hand. He felt a renewed sense of hope. They could do this. They could find their way out. He looked at Leah, who nodded in agreement. They were in this together, and they weren't going to give up. This way, the compass seemed to whisper, guiding them towards a narrow opening in the rock face. The needle pointed steadily in one direction, and they knew they had to follow it. The path ahead was uncertain, but they had a guide now. They had a chance. They had stumbled upon a hidden cave. The entrance was small and almost completely concealed by the surrounding foliage. It was a place that few had likely ever seen. The air around the cave entrance was cool and carried a faint, mysterious whisper. as if the winds themselves were speaking to them, the Cave of Whispering Winds. The name seemed fitting, given the eerie sounds emanating from within. They exchanged a glance, knowing that this was just the beginning of their journey. With the compass in hand and a newfound sense of determination, they stepped forward into the unknown. The air inside the cave was thick with the scent of damp earth and something ancient. It was as if the very walls of the cave held memories of a time long forgotten, whispering secrets to those who dared to enter. Strange symbols etched into the cave walls flickered in the dim light of their torches. These symbols seemed to tell a story, one that was both intriguing and foreboding, hinting at the challenges that lay ahead. The air hummed with an unseen energy. It was a palpable force, almost as if the cave itself was alive, watching their every move, waiting to see if they were worthy of the secrets it guarded.
This place, Ryan breathed, his voice hushed with awe. He had never felt anything like it before, a mix of fear and excitement coursing through his veins.
Feels different, Leah finished, her eyes wide with wonder. She could sense the significance of this place, the weight of its history pressing down on her.
They followed a winding passage deeper into the cave, their footsteps echoing off the stone walls. Each step took them further from the world they knew and deeper into the unknown. The compass, their only guide. The air grew colder, the passage narrower, and the sense of foreboding stronger with each passing moment, until they reached a dead end. The sudden stop was jarring, and for a moment they feared they had come all this way for nothing. A massive stone door, intricately carved with images of mythical creatures, blocked their path. The carvings were so detailed they seemed to move in the flickering torchlight, almost as if they were alive. In the center of the door, a single word was inscribed: Speak. It was a command, a challenge, and a mystery all in one.
Speak? Ryan echoed, confused. Speak what? His mind raced, trying to decipher the meaning behind the word.
As if in answer, a deep voice boomed through the cave. To pass, you must solve the riddle of the ages. The voice was ancient, filled with wisdom and power, and it sent chills down their spines.
A shiver ran down Leah's spine. She had heard tales of such riddles, but never imagined she would face one herself.
The voice echoed around them. I have cities, but no houses. The words seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, wrapping around them like a cloak. I have mountains, but no trees. The riddle continued, each line more perplexing than the last, challenging their understanding of the world. I have water, but no fish. The final line hung in the air, heavy with meaning. What am I? The question lingered, demanding an answer. What riddle? Ryan asked, his voice barely above a whisper. He looked at Leah, hoping she had some insight.
Leah and Ryan exchanged nervous glances. The weight of the riddle pressed down on them, the fate of their quest hanging in the balance. The fate of their quest, their very lives, depended on solving this riddle. They took a deep breath, steeling themselves for the challenge ahead. The answer was within their grasp, if only they could see it.